Hey there, golfers. Welcome to Second Swing Minnetonka inside the tour van today. We're going live here on YouTube with a club comparison today. We're also going to talk just a little bit of golf and what's going on in the industry here first, as some people kind of come into the stream here a little bit. But first, wanted to welcome you for joining us. Once again, we're going to try to go live on Thursdays here for the next few months, kind of during, as the winter months approach here and we can't really go outside to do our filming. We're going to kind of do it inside here live for you guys to watch and then take part in our conversation. So to first get things kicked off, I kind of want to bring up this survey on MyGolfSpy. So they were asking people simply about club fittings and how much they enjoyed their experience. And we were kind of not really surprised, but it was pleasing, I think, to see Second Swing ranked so high in terms of would you recommend your experience to another golfer. And you can now see those results on screen, and you can see Second Swing was, in terms of retailers in the United States, was, I think, the highest. So you go, our friends at TXG, really good fitting experience there at the top. Then manufacturer-owned facilities, and then followed that with Second Swing. So I think that speaks to the process we have and just our award-winning staff here.
Yeah, it absolutely speaks to the process and just the training that we do at Second Swing. We run like a Second Swing university for all our fitters, all our employees. Make sure that we train our employees really, really well. And it's great to see that we're pretty much #1 in the U.S., which is awesome. And we know TXG, they do a great job, but one thing that really surprised me is a manufactured operated facility. We were right up there. We're almost the same with that. So that goes to the fact that we're working well with the manufacturers to get the right training, but also showing that we're a little bar above, which is great to see for a small business that's slowly growing. Right,
and then the other piece of this too is that our fittings are complimentary with purchase. So that's the really nice thing about this is, a lot of places, they charge for their fittings, right? But we go, our fitting staff goes through that intense certification and all of that process to get trained in at a very high and professional elite level. And then to have all this technology, right? We got TrackMan, we have this, award-winning fitting environment in here. And then to have that complementary with your purchase of a new club that's fit for your game, that is, dialed in for your swing. To have that is, I think it shows in that survey that people are enjoying our experience and recommending it to others. So I guess that's one thing we want to touch on before we get started here as people pile in and start asking us questions too, is just our award-winning fitting experience. People out there are enjoying it, and we love to see the results on that MyGolfSpy survey. So as we kind of get ready for our test today here, Thomas, one thing we also wanted to bring up, golf ball from Titleist in terms of the data capture from with TrackMan and other radar technology. So can you explain a little bit about that, what we know about it, and then maybe how we'll handle it going forward here?
Yeah, I mean, as a club fitter, I'm very excited. There's no secret at Second Swing. We use TrackMan at our Second Swing Minnetonka store. I believe we have 13 TrackMans in our store. But yeah, these could be got in the past, which is going to be exciting. These little silver dots, they're going to be replaced by the RCT golf ball. TrackMan and Titleist have partnered. They've worked in the last couple of years. I've talked to the TrackMan rep the last couple of days, and I've also talked to the Titleist rep, and they've actually overnighted me ball. Unfortunately, I don't have the ball yet to test with, but we're going to be doing a review on that next week for sure to make sure and do some initial testing. But they have promised me, they've done testing with the likes of even Bryson DeChambeau, saying they have not had a single shot with driver that's been italicized. Yeah. Which that's really impressive. So spin consistency is really, really important in fittings. And it just shows that they show an emphasis and really importance on making sure the numbers are absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I mean the entire golf industry is moving forward into this fitting phase where so many more golfers are getting fit and are realizing the how much that can help your game. And to see Titleist come out with this ball now to really help the fitting industry, help our staff here, right, dial in customers the right way, and use all this technology that we have at our disposal, and then kind of give it the boost there instead of kind of using these dots to get that further spin capture and things like that. To finally get that golf ball, I think is going to be a huge winner. So we're excited to see that. We're excited to test it. So stay tuned to the YouTube channel, and we'll have that ready to go here. But so kind of moving into today's test now. So we've got 5 drivers, 5 driver heads, and then we actually had a comment in the chat prior to even going live asking for a 6th head with the Tour Edge Exotic C721. So maybe we'll throw that in there as well. But we've got 5 heads. We've got, and they're all kind of the low spin kind of edition of the driver this year. Ping at G425 LST, TaylorMade SIM2, Titleist TSi3, Callaway Epic Max LS, and Cobra RAD Speed. Thomas, you've been fitting customers into these drivers all year. Takeaways on these 5 models, and maybe any predictions, I guess, for our test today.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Tour Edge, for example. That the exotics, you know, the C721. It was sneaky good. I think everyone was really surprised. We initially did some reviews and were like, wow, this thing is going really far. And I know, like, for example, TXG, they have like their bracket, and that almost went all the way through in their particular bracket. There is a #1 driver, which, you know, Tour Edge did a great job with regards to value and also their 48-hour window with regards to getting that club delivered in your hand. We all know with the golf industry this year, it's been challenging, and I think Tour Edge has found a driver that's, you know, performed really well. They do have a pro version. I know there's a limited of 1,000 of those. It's just a little smaller head as well. But I don't even think we need that pro version. I
know in testing for you, the C721, that spin stayed really low. And I know you were hitting some pretty crazy numbers with that thing in testing earlier this year. So maybe we'll throw that in the mix here today. I mean, we have some shaft differences there. It might not be a perfect test, but maybe we'll throw it in there to see. So without further ado, though, I actually just want to get to one question here that we had in the chat here. We have, is it just me or does the Ping Tour 75 stiff shaft feel soft? I don't know how much testing you've done on that Ping Tour shaft. I know I used to play it in my old driver, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I know it's designed specifically for Ping driver heads. And it's interesting you bring that up. And this is maybe going a little bit off topic to do with the golf shaft, but I weighed all the club heads this morning. I wanted to check the swing weight. I wanted to check the weight of the head alone. And we have a lot of inventory when it comes to in the second swing. And I had a hard time finding a Ping G425 LST driver head that was as light as the other drivers.
Okay.
So the swing weight was coming in at around about D7 with a 45-inch driver shaft. Everything else was coming in D1.5 to D4. So I think a lot of it comes down to what the head is designed for. Essentially, the head with Ping is usually a little bit heavier head. Yes, there's a couple of tolerances essentially, plus or minus a few grams. And that's why I was saying I was measuring a few different heads to try and find one a little bit lighter. But yeah, it's really interesting. The fact that the Ping driver head usually a little bit heavier than other manufacturers, and I think, you know, I haven't noticed the point where it feels soft per se, but I think that's just part of the reason why you might notice just a little bit difference in feel
in the shaft.
It's because the club head's different.
Yeah,
it's just
they
the way it's
kind of
designed.
counterbalancing there.
High MOI, and high MOI you need a little extra weight, and that's why I think,
so I mean, those differences I think we've noted before too in some of our videos, but we've definitely noticed that kind of feel difference with the Ping drivers. And I mean, clearly they are one of the leaders in forgiveness and in MOI. That's one of their key points when they make a new driver every year. So we'll see in that test today. We'll put it to the test here and see what TrackMan tells us. But that's just something to take note of there. And that might be an explanation for the question there from Mark about the stiff shaft. So we've got the 5 drivers, Thomas. Maybe we can start getting you warmed up here a little bit. We'll see if some more comments come in.
Sounds good.
But otherwise, yeah, go ahead and get warmed up. Maybe hit some shots. I know you've already hit a few, so I'll clear the TrackMan here for you.
It takes a while for me to get warmed up these days. Getting older.
We got to comment on the camera angle because it does look like it was like 2 separate environments behind us here. But it's actually
we were literally next to each other, but that was well planned by our camera crew.
All right, you've got you're hitting 7-iron to warm up.
I'm hitting a couple wedges first just to get loose, and then I'll hit a couple irons, and then we'll kind of go straight to driver.
So here's a fun question we have in the chat. Players looking to update a Ping G410 Plus for something more adjustable as they make swing improvements. I'm on the fence between a Mizuno STG 220, the Titleist TSi3, or perhaps, as he says, maybe wait for a 2022 model.
Well, you're right. The Mizuno.
The Mizuno is very adjustable.
You have everything.
Yeah.
It's adjustable, but I will say that what I've noticed is it's not like you slam the weights in the heel and try and make the thing upright. It's not super like draw bias. It's more of a neutral head, but there is plenty of different adjustable options.
There's 3 different tracks on the back. You have your hosel adjustments as well. So If you're looking strictly for adjustability, that might be, I mean, that's probably the first place to go, at least to try it out, you know?
I mean, manufacturers, when it comes to moving the center of gravity around, they've kind of gone away from that a little bit. You still have it with a couple of Callaway drivers, but a lot of them are kind of moving the weight forward and back, or even kind of swing weight purposes, having different weights in there. You still got it with the ping, but even that perimeter weight's doesn't go around as far anymore. MOI, I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing is we've got limitations on how fast that ball can come off the face. Right. They're just trying to find ways to improve for the technology, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit one more wedge here. One thing I'll say with adjustability too is make sure you get fit for the right club head, loft first, then make the tweaks with the adjustable hosel. We all know you're changing face angle, you're changing lie angle around. You know, yes, the loft is going to change, but don't buy a 10.5 degree head if you can't find a 9. And turn that thing down 1.5 degrees. It's going to play very different. That face is going to be a little open.
And the stated loft are the most important things. That's what you guys here go for right away. And then from there, make those tweaks. So, but I do like that, you know, it seems like the adjustability on drivers became a really popular fad and almost has become now a lost art in the last couple of years where drivers manufacturers are taking that stuff out of the driver. You see like the Sim series, right? Just kind of with like M5, they had a bunch of those, the weight tracks, and then they kind of have gradually removed it. And we'll get to SIM2 today where there's actually not any weight tracks on the back anymore.
You can't move it around at all, just minus the plus or minus with the hosel. But once again, get the right loft on the head. And that's one thing I will say all the time is make sure you get that loft fitted first and then make any tweaks.
Yeah, so how are we warmed up here? Are we close?
You know, let's just go straight to hitting a couple of drivers here, getting the driver swing going.
A couple gamer warm-ups here?
A couple of, gamer warm-ups.
I'll switch you to driver here.
And then we'll start playing around with these different heads here.
Oh, look at that ball. Straight.
Straight one, yep.
So, question here from Alex asking, he has a TSi4 with a hazardous X-Flex variant. Keeps up with his swing speed, but feels like he lacks the ability to get height. Even bumped it up to the 9 3/4 degree option. Still lacking with height. And I mean, that driver, we're going to test it today in the TSi4. That's a low launching, low spinning driver. So
I haven't really fit. I think I can maybe count. I can definitely count on one hand the amount of people I fit into the TSi4 driver.
Yeah.
It's probably maybe 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
It's a very low spinning.
I mean, it's for swing speeds that are high, but it's also for people that, you know, launch the ball high because of that swing speed. So if you're a person that doesn't have that initial high launch, it might be TSi3 or TSi2 even might be the better fit, despite the fact that TSi4 is that kind of low spin head, but it's also low launch. So that might be where, if you weren't trying to get more height, it could be that, plus it could be a loft situation where maybe 9 3/4, maybe you just get a different, the stated loft, maybe move that into the 10 or 10.5 degree range.
Yeah, I was even going back and forth a little bit as what club head we put in the test today, whether it's TSi3 or TSi4.
Right.
Well, I mean, TSi4 is the lowest spinning one, so let's put that in the mix.
TSi3 is slightly more forgiving. It's certainly a lower spin in general compared to other heads in the industry, but TSi4 is just even ultra low, you know.
Right. All right. Let's hit one more here. All right.
Kyle asking about the irons he should be playing.
Started golfing. Driver in the way. Make sure we get that out of the way so it picks up everything.
Started golfing at the end of 2020 season, going to pick up some Radspeed irons. Has me thinking, as a high handicapper with inconsistent ball striking, when is the time to consider player's irons or player assistance irons? if you just started in 2020, you feel like you're inconsistent with ball striking, game improvement's probably the category to stay in for a while. I mean, I know we don't like to put a handicap on things, but if you feel like you're not hitting the center of the face consistently, I'd probably stay in that range. And the Rad Speed's a great option to start with, I think.
Yeah, Rad Speed's a great option. The only thing that worries me with the Rad Speed is the loft. It is quite strong. So if you generate a lot of speed, and you connect occasionally, and then you miss hit it, and you connect occasionally. When you do connect, that ball's going to go a lot further than you think.
The distance
consistency might not be so great, so like 27.5 degrees of loft on that 7-iron, and the pitching wedge I think is like 42.5. It's pretty strong lofted. So
right.
Consistency is important, but that's the only concern is when you get a strong lofted
there's
club.
All kinds of forgiveness in there. I mean, in those irons for sure. But then, like you said, it's just that loft thing, the loft jacking type of thing. That's not what Cobra did necessarily, but it's just something to consider with that category of irons. So anyway, are you feel like you're warmed up here?
I'm warmed up enough, yeah.
So is there a club that you want to start with, or should I just give you a club head here?
Yeah, let's put something together. Which head do you want me to go with? And today we're going to be testing with Graphite Design XC6S. I have the 6X. I just couldn't find the 6X, but I wanted to test the same shaft and all these. And then also, if we do throw in the Exotics Tour Edge here too, I don't have the same all-fit system for that, but I have a 60-gram stiff hazardous shaft.
So again, if we do throw in that C721,
I think we should.
A perfect, but I think we should. Why not?
Yeah.
And it was, like we said, that driver did wonders in testing this year, so might as well throw it in. But all right, why don't we start? Let's start with TaylorMade. It's the one closest to you here. TaylorMade SIM2.
Perfect. The nice thing, at Second Swing, we have our all-fit system I was talking about. So all the major manufacturers. It's interesting we don't have a Tour Edge one, but we can switch out the heads and put the same exact golf shaft, same exact setting. We're going to be testing at 9 degrees with all of the drivers.
So a question here from John's is asking, is the TaylorMade SIM2 truly any better than the Sim? Longer and forgiving, etc. So the one thing, that the forged ring construction on there is kind of like that blue piece in the back. And I play the SIM2, that's my gamer. So obviously I have a little bit of bias then, because that's what I was fit into. But that forged ring construction in the back, where that blue ring kind of around the whole back of the club head sort of stabilizes things a little bit more than I think the Sim family did. But that's just, and that's my thing. And again, fit for new, you get more life out of the club versus getting something used. But if you're not seeing the huge differences yourself, maybe in testing, obviously use selection of Second Swing, you can get a couple $100 potentially off on a Sim versus a Sim 2 right now. So.
Yeah, it comes down to one generation change. I don't think you're going to see a major difference. Now, if you're playing, you go back 5-6 years and then you test it versus Sim 2, that's when you're probably going to see a little bit of differences there. But I would say there's not enough difference there to say, if you're looking at trying to save $100, $150 and get the Sim.
Yeah, I mean, where we see the biggest differences with players like myself, right? I was playing a G30 for 5-6 years. I got that brand new, and I think it was 6 years until I got a new one. So I was seeing the differences on my miss hits, where that G30, for as great as it was, wasn't quite as stable or as forgiving as a new Sim 2 on the miss hits. So.
Right. Yeah. All right. This golf shaft's 45 inches in length. So it's just a little bit shorter than what I play.
We'll throw the Sim 2 up there on the tag. We'll see if we can get some. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to restart this whole thing just because you're warmed up.
A little easier for you to come back and look at all
those
the data.
extra shots in there, so we'll have that. But there we go.
Okay.
TaylorMade Sim 2.
It's just a tad low on the face, and that's why that one spun a little bit more. Yes, Thomas Campbell was human.
It's early in the morning.
That'll be a little straighter.
Nose it off the club face. Look at that.
That was a good recovery. It's hit pretty good as well.
I like this. I mean, again, I play the SIM2, but I like the sound of that club. It's when you hit it in the center, there's a pop to it that is just kind of satisfying to me.
It's just, like you said, it's a satisfying. It's not like super loud.
No.
There's other, other manufacturers will test with. It'll sound louder inside for sure.
Yeah.
But it feels a little bit more muted off the face for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was hit pretty well too.
Wow, look at that one.
Yep.
Spin a little bit lower on that one.
That one felt pretty good. I knew that one was going to be.
So that's what, 4 shots up there right now?
It is, yeah.
That's 4?
The first shot obviously was a. First shot's always a little rough.
Right. All right.
All right.
So those last 4 are pretty good.
Last 4 are pretty good. Yeah, I would take the first one, just kind of get rid of that first one out of the data points.
Yeah, we can do that. This is this one.
Yep.
I'll make sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So
that was
this one over here. That is certainly an outlier for you.
Right.
But then we have.
I mean, take a look at the averages and see.
These 4 to look at here, and then we can see the averages. And so, I mean, 2377 spin, 288 carry, 309.5 total, with a 148 smash. Basically 2 right down the middle, a couple that turn over slightly, but are still fairway finders. So,
right.
I mean, give me some feedback on the look and feel of the TaylorMade SIM2. What you think on that, because that's a kind of a unique crown still design that they have.
Yeah, I mean, I love how the white and then the black, and then you got the little blue around the back. I love how the contrast between the two of them makes it look visually really appealing at a dress. As I mentioned, sound is feel, and it just felt a little bit more muted off the face. It didn't sound like it's got a loud pop to it.
Yeah.
Felt really good off the face. I was pretty happy with it. What I have noticed in general testing is it's been just a slight more fade bias club out of all the manufacturers I've seen. We'll see if that is the case today. It looks like I got a couple over there to the right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing I've kind of noticed with this one. Pretty good numbers, pretty good start though. 166 ball speed, was spin at 2377 on average. It's a good start.
That is a good start. We can move on to next club here. Let's do the Callaway Epic Max LS.
Okay.
Throw that in the mix here.
We have any other questions
I was gonna
on
get to
here?
those here as soon as I get this tag set up.
No problem.
Oh wow, I can't type right now.
Rather you than me.
Oops, kept SIM2 on there. Okay, so we're ready to go there. We had a couple of questions here. Someone was asking about, I remember looking at this one, the tendencies when the shaft is too heavy. So if someone's playing a shaft that is too heavy, they said, of course, a slower club head speed, but then I think it depends on the player's tempo probably a little bit, right? So, I mean, it depends on if they have a slow tempo or a quick tempo. That'll change how they react to a heavier golf shaft, too.
Yeah, as I'm doing this, I'm just moving the weight back, because the last person that did a fitting left the weight in the heel, and I don't need that. One other thing I'll say with golf shafts is I try and tell people play the lightest golf shaft that you can handle. And when I say handle, it comes down to dispersion.
Okay.
If you're hitting the ball straight with a lighter shaft and that spin rate's not really high and you can control it, you can generate a little more club speed. There's no doubt that a lighter golf shaft's going to generate a little more speed.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a lot of speed, you're going to generate more torque on the golf shaft, and that's where it impacts. You've got to generate a lot of opening and closing the club face.
Yeah.
that's where you need a little bit more controlled, lower torque golf shaft.
Yeah.
And
right.
these, generally
and
speaking, they're
potentially
stiffer
the weight
and heavier.
as well.
Yeah.
Get, you know, so I think especially if you have quick tempo, that's where having a heavier golf shaft can maybe stabilize it a little bit. You know, rather than having something a little bit light or more flexible. That's when you have that quick tempo. Things can kind of really get off the rails a little bit. So
yep.
I would just, I mean, the short answer to that question is it does depend on your tempo. I mean, in terms of the shaft weight, if heavier, you have a slower swing speed for one, but then in terms of opening and closing and lower or higher trajectory, again, that's on your tempo. If you're a quick tempo or if you're a slow tempo, you're going to react differently. But if it's too heavy for you, most of the time, it's going to be a little bit lower, and you're not going to hit it as far because of you know, you're swinging slower. So.
Yeah, and if you're on the bubble, say you're on the bubble between playing a stiff or an extra stiff golf shaft, if you have a slower tempo, you can probably go stiff. If you have a faster tempo, you'll probably lean towards extra stiff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on the bubble,
it's
a lot of it's a lot to do with tempo as well.
Right. All right, Epic Max LS here.
Didn't quite hit that one solid. Pretty good miss
Really?
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll take that miss.
It's just a little high toe. And that's why that spin rate on that shot stayed down.
Stayed down. It was that kind of gear effect.
Yep. That's why the ball speed dropped, efficiency dropped a little bit, but spin rate stayed down. If you're gonna miss the middle of the face, hit it slightly high toe. That one is left. Yep.
A little bit. It looks like my shot yesterday.
There's the outlier right there.
Yeah. Somebody asked about, will TaylorMade have a new sim driver soon? And I guess the only answer I have to that is TaylorMade seems to release a driver every January or February. So
right.
That's the only thing I can say. I don't know anything else past that.
I would guess so.
I would guess so. I mean,
around PGA show time, there's a good chance that you'll see something new from TaylorMade. That was a better swing.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the better ones I've made. 167.7.
I think that might be your
ball
farthest
speed.
carry of the day so far.
292. Yeah, that one felt really good.
What's up? I don't think he's here. He's not with us.
Another one, looks like the ball speed a little faster there. 292.
There you go. Wow. Is that 4 up there now, or is that 5?
That's 4, yeah.
Okay.
So providing I hit a good one here, that one that's left would once again be the outlier. Just a touch left again.
Okay.
Yep.
So we got some numbers here.
Yep. I get rid of that one that is way on the left side.
The first one was,
it might have been the second one, actually.
Here, you know what? I'm going to make sure of
that. It was number 7.
Whichever one is, yep, you're right, yep. This one. So we got 4 of your better swings now. We're going to show all here just compared to SIM2. So you did say, right, you made that point about SIM2 being maybe fade biased or that fade tendency or a little bit more right on dispersion, and then you kind of showed it here with your best 4 shots from each of the Epic Max LS and the SIM2 so far. If we kind of expand this a little bit, and you can see the quick comparison between these two after those shots. Spin was a little bit lower with Epic Max LS. Distance numbers, though, are very comparable. I think just a little bit more rollout with the Epic Max LS due to that lower spin.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these 3 Here, they
Yeah.
definitely stand out to me there that are pretty good. The left one's going to be a little bit more user error.
Yeah, sure.
This time of the year, I don't practice and play much. Actually, I haven't played in an event since the second week in October, so
Yeah,
I haven't really done much. And
been a
this
few
is,
weeks.
This is my downtime right now.
This is your this is how you fine tune your swing, is going live on YouTube and
Right.
hit some drives.
You'd think I would do this right when I'm,
Right.
in form, but hey, I like a challenge. But yeah, club speed about the same.
Interesting that club speed, ball speed are like pretty much the same here. Smash factor is pretty much the same too.
I wanted to touch on numbers here too, and I wrote them down. So swing weight and total weight. So I mentioned that earlier with ping. I believe the Epic Max LS was about 1.5 points lower, right, with regards to swing weight. It was like D1.5 versus D3.
SIM2 with D3.5.
D3.5. Okay, so 2 points.
2 points difference there.
Yeah. So yeah, and that could generate just a little bit more speed, because we know the total weight with the golf head and the golf shaft, I think it was a couple of grams difference there.
Yeah, it's just a very slight difference in that. But interesting on the swing weight is 2 points, lighter for the Epic Max LS. So.
Yep.
Okay. Next driver, let's go to Cobra RAD Speed.
All right. Well,
so now, the weight configuration there, how are you doing that?
So I got the weight forward on that one. I need the correct wrench here.
Go RAD.
Yeah, I mean, considering we'll be testing, TSi3, you might as well keep that weight forward. I mean, the weight's forward on the SIM2 automatically.
We got a question from, I don't know if this is his last name or not, but it'd be a very unfortunate last name for a golfer, Chris Shanks. He says, when you guys do fittings, do you fit purely for distance and dispersion, or would you take into account the best fit to help swing tendencies, like club path? Asking about drivers specifically. So I know, one of the things that is, with those draw bias drivers, right, the more weight in the heel helps with the club path and kind of squaring it up a little bit. But what is your take on that? Like the whole, in the tour event fitting, that's where you get kind of more of that swing information when you get fit for a new driver.
Yeah, so one of the first things we do in a club fitting is we have a conversation with the golfer, asking what his goals are.
Yeah.
So a lot of it comes down to what the goals are and what the fitter is seeing with regards to tendencies. It comes down to distance versus dispersion. There's a bit of a ratio there. I know Ping, they've got their founding website with regards to founding fitting numbers, and that they'll post some articles about that. And it's really interesting in regards to distance versus dispersion, because we all know, there's the golfers out there like to bomb and gouge, and there's golfers that want to be in the fairway all the time. So it's going to be player dependent. I for sure am not going to fit someone into a club that they can't hit the fairway with.
Right. And I think part of this answer too, and it's not like maybe a direct answer to the question, but it's just we want to fit for the player, So it's not like we don't have one process and we follow these exact rules for every player.
Yeah.
So if you want only distance, then we'll give you the club that goes the furthest for you. Or if you want the most accurate driver, you're not worried about hitting it further, we'll give you the most accurate one. So, and if you want the best combination, we'll suggest the best combination based on the dispersion map and where the balls are on the dots. So
yeah,
there's that simple.
You talk about loft and you talk about face angle, and there's no doubt if you have less loft on the driver, you're going to get more ball speed. More ball speed can equal more distance. But if someone has a different attack angle versus two players, I'm not going to fit them both into a 9-degree head. One guy might need 11 degrees of loft on their driver just to help the ball hit the ball a little bit straighter.
Right.
So get the ball up in the air and stay on line. And then if your face angle is closed, there's less loft on that club, less loft on that club. If you have pull shot, if you ever hit a pull shot with an iron, middle of the fairway, you've hit it long left.
Oh yeah, every time you pull it, it's usually going longer than you expect.
Because that face is closed,
you're delofting a little bit as you pull
decreasing
it.
loft.
Vice versa, if that club is open, it's going to go shorter. So
that's
why you see, like I've always noticed when we do these tests, you kind of see the oval, kind of goes kind of from short right to deep left, and it's kind of a diagonal type of shaping, because that's what happens within a club face, open or closed, based on the loft. So interesting. Yeah, that was just one that I know we had. I wanted to get an answer to that question here.
Yeah,
so.
and when we're fitting, we're not teaching. We're not giving a lesson. We might be able to give a couple of pointers and direct you towards a PGA professional that can work on your game. We're trying to fit to your swing. But if there's a golfer that clearly comes in that's 7 degrees across and 7 degrees down, I might have to make a little tweak and tell them, hey, there's not a club that's in the store that I can really help you to stop slicing that ball 50 yards.
Right. I mean, the nice thing is that you can see those numbers here too.
Right.
On TrackMan. If someone maybe has no idea what's going on, it's like, well, here's what you're doing. You're swinging out to in 6 degrees every time or something. And maybe from there they can kind of see that and then start fixing that part of the game. So.
Okay. Back to hitting.
Cobra RAD Speed.
Yeah, and we got that 12-gram weight up front.
So this is kind of the lowest spin setting of all the RAD Speed drivers.
Yep.
Wow, look at that.
That's pretty good.
Just a low piercing ball flight there.
Yeah, there's a little lower ball flight. Felt good as well.
Basically the same ball speed.
It feels pretty stable, I'm not going to lie. It feels pretty good coming through. Maybe not the fastest ball speed so far.
I want to say, you know, this might be wrong. I guess I don't know exactly where, but I feel like the center of gravity placement on this one, with that weight forward, is probably the most forward besides TSi3 of the drivers today. I would feel like.
Yep.
You know, I could be wrong, but that's more of a kind of a hypothesis. You know, but.
Well, the nice thing is you can help with swing weight too. So you can put heavier weights or lighter weights in any spot there too, depending on the length of the golf shaft and all that too. Didn't quite hit that one, so it'll be interesting to see here. I mean, it's a good miss hit.
So where did you catch that on the face, you think?
I feel like it was showing up just slightly.
Kind of a little bit towards heel and maybe low?
Yep. Okay. So the spin rate jumped by about 400 RPMs.
Well, you still, you know, hit it 300 yards and it was about as dead straight as you could get.
Right. That one wasn't on the heel. Yeah.
That was or was not on the heel?
That one I just left the face a little bit open on.
It's a little bit open?
Yeah.
I can see that face angle. I mean, on average, you're at your face angle is actually a little bit negative on average for the RAD Speed. That one was open 2.2 degrees.
All right. And that's a miss hit. There's that high toe again. High toe with the face slightly open.
So, and we've noted that spin will go down if you hit it higher on the face, with the exception of if you skyball it.
Yeah.
Like, that was one where maybe that miss being higher on the club head or on the club face, you know, actually helped it.
It actually helped,
keeping the spin down. So I'm going to bring up the map here. We've got, here's our map so far of the 5 shots with RAD Speed, and we can actually, since we've been doing it with the other clubs, we can
probably
take
the one
out.
that's furthest to the right would probably be the outlier. Now it's a shame because that's the only one so far. Actually, there's another 1.5 there, but it was a higher efficiency, but it definitely was more open there. But that's good. That shows the dispersion there as well.
So we've got the numbers here to compare. Spin overall, 2257. Carry a little bit shorter. I think you had, you know, you talked about the one that we left out there actually, that you were maybe a little bit low or maybe heely a tiny bit, and the spin just went up like 400 RPM, but the ball went dead straight, which I think must be this one here. So.
And then the first 3, they were kind of like a little lower trajectory, but they were pretty straight. I think if you were going to bring up the first 3 shots that I hit and just click on that trajectory, you see straight, 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 and that's what. And then I kind of let the club down a little bit at the end.
Now here. So we got right there, and right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that was almost
you're
the same
missing.
ball flight.
You're going 5 yards left of the center line.
Yeah.
You'll take that all day, I think. So.
Right.
All right, so that's what we're looking at for dispersion map right now. That's where the numbers are. We can go, let's try the Ping G425 LST here.
Okay.
And then we'll bring these up here. Some more comments here. It says, I recently discovered that the delivery date for SIM2 irons is April 2022. Is that true for SIM2 drivers? What about other brands? Everything is on back order these days. Yes, I mean, that's there are issues going on throughout the industry as it pertains to custom orders right now. It just depends on, you know, the shaft and the grip that you might get with your order. Some of those, the supplies are just a little bit, there's not enough supply of them.
Right. And unfortunately, we don't know if it's going to get better or not.
There's a lot of uncertainty in that side of things. So I will say, try to practice patience as much as you can, whether you're ordering through, you know, the manufacturer, whether you're ordering through Second Swing, wherever you're ordering a custom order. I mean, we're doing our best to kind of meet the demand.
I would in that situation talk to your fitter or talk to the company that you bought the club through. Hopefully it's Second Swing, but and then take a look at the golf shaft that you fit into when you're trying to purchase, because there's some big differences with regards to delivery time. Yeah, there is, depending on the golf shaft.
Yeah, so if you're trying to get your clubs sooner, maybe it's grip or shaft. It's been kind of both. We've noticed. So I will say we do have a pretty solid selection in stock of selection of, you know, newer irons, SIM2 irons, SIM Max irons. Yeah. So there might be an option for you in our inventory as well right now that we can just ship to you like tomorrow. So
yeah, that's very important to bring up, because we did think kind of ahead of the time, try and get a lot of orders of clubs. You know, they may not be the exact shaft you want, but
we've built up an inventory of, you know, various shafts, various grips. So you know, you can talk with our online fitting support team on that side, or you can stop into one of our stores if you're near one of our stores. So. All right, so we got the G425 LST here that Thomas is going to test.
Weights in the back, in the middle. Always got to double check. Pretty good swing. It feels, and I've said this a lot of times, and I know we had someone comment about the head being a little bit heavier with Ping heads. Yeah. It definitely feels like it's just a little bit heavier in my hand, and talk about this, what the difference in that and swing weight is. I think this is playing right around about a D7 swing weight, while the others I mentioned are D1.5 to D4. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So I can notice it, and this is the exact same shaft in each head, just because that head is just a little bit heavier. Right. Mm-hmm. Like that one, though.
That one, wow. That is a straight ball flight.
Club path, face angle, pretty good on that one.
Wow, that's good too.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It feels kind of like the RAD Speed. It feels stable. Now, I said that after 3 swings with the RAD Speed, then I went ahead and put a couple bad swings on at the end there. But it feels like I'm just hitting it a little bit more on a same consistent line again.
Right.
We'll see if I can back up my claim here on these last couple of swings.
Still pretty good. I mean, leaked a little left, but that's still a fairway finder.
Yep. Yeah, it just feels stable. It feels like I'm just hitting it fairly straight.
Look at that, yeah.
It's like, probably not, not the longest of all the drivers I've hit so far, but probably the most stable. And I think you look at the dispersion there,
you got 3 of them right here.
Right.
In the middle.
And then you take one miss hit out, that one.
Probably this one.
And then you'll probably notice
and even that was still kind of a good shot. But then if you wanted, just for the sake of consistency and taking one out for each club, suddenly you go, and this, smallest dispersion pattern so far for our test is the G425 LST. I did want to get your opinion now. You've hit 4 drivers. We got 1 left. 2 left for this test. Look and feel, sound. Is there one that you like the most? Is there any differences or anything that you've noticed? I know we talked already a little bit about kind of the weighting with the G425.
I mean, this feels heavier, feels stable. I like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, at the other end of the spectrum, the Epic Max LS felt lighter.
Okay.
Probably not as stable, but because it just felt a little lighter, I know I could hit a little further. Maybe generate a little more speed and club speed.
You did have the highest club speed with Epic Max LS, and it looks like ball speed as well was the highest.
Right, and then the spin rate was the lowest with that one too. So that stands out to me, the fact that head was light, but spun low.
And that is it's kind of a unique offering from Callaway, whereas in the past, low spin driver heads haven't been focused so much on MOI. And they really went forward with Epic Max LS, which is kind of a mixture of their low spin, but also kind of their max or their most forgiving capabilities. So a unique offering, but clearly it's been working. So, here's what we've got so far. I think G425 LST right now, smallest circle. Epic Max LS is currently the longest, just able to swing a little bit faster with it. So now kind of the TSi3 from Titleist, low spin compact head here.
Well, we'll see if it lives up to its claims of very, very low spin.
Mm-hmm. We'll do that. So one of the follow-ups to the questions about order times, since it is true that the delivery time is so far out, why not wait for new designs in early spring? I guess my answer is, you could have, there could be the same problems. Right?
Yeah, there's unknowns. You don't know.
I truly do wish we had some more information and more answers, but at this time it's just kind of we don't really know how that all is going to go. And COVID and the times with some of these supplies it's still having its effect now. So that's all we can say. I mean, you certainly can wait until early spring, 100%, and maybe things will be quicker and more efficient then. We just don't know for sure.
One thing I'll bring up too is with second swing is we have our 38 play guarantee too. So
absolutely.
All our stuff, if you order it, you don't like it, and all of a sudden you find that something is going to be here a little quicker, you want to go to the new one and feel like the price is pretty similar, you can always offset and help 100% play guarantee price to go towards something else. Yeah,
you can try it out for 30 days, and if you think you like this and you love it, by all means, that's in your bag. That's good. But if you buy a set of irons, maybe it's SIM2, try them out, and it's just like, what? I think I'm going to wait until the new ones come out. Then
SIM3 or whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's
I don't know. We have no idea what that's going to be called, but if you then want to send it back to us and we can work with our team to get your credit and your money back. So, TSi3 here. I just want to get your look or your thoughts on the look, because I know for a fact it's a smaller club head than the others.
More pear-shaped look, a little smaller, more compact for sure. It's definitely the smallest head that I've looked down at. Pure black, with a little bit of gloss on it, but it looks pretty. It looks like a tour player's driver, that's for sure.
It's a little. It can be more intimidating almost, depending on the player that you are.
Some people like
someone like you, probably not, but someone like me, I'd be a little bit more intimidated with that.
Well, technology's come so far. You put this down next to a driver from 2000, it's still gonna look
that's
pretty
true.
big. Good ball speed. Low spin.
Oh yeah, there's the low spin, even with the fade on it too. Keith here in the chat said, I need to figure out how to achieve that attack angle. Most of the time I'm between 0 and -2. And Your attack angle is supremely positive. That's how you achieve the most efficiency with driver, is hitting up on it with an attack angle in the 4+ degrees range.
I'm laughing because we just posted a TikTok on this, and we've just started kind of dabbling a little bit into TikTok and other social channels, and we just posted 2 days ago, and pretty much it's 3 things. So what we focused on that video was shoulder tilt, with left shoulder a little bit higher than the right. Yeah. So at impact, you want to feel like you're coming more like this. Yeah. You also got to add in, we'll notice the T height that I have this.
Yeah, it's T is relatively high. Yeah.
And then ball position. Ball position's further forward. Yeah. It's not back.
So that's, I mean, because you're, you know, if you're hitting down on the ball, it's going to just generate more spin, and then that takes off maximum distance you can achieve. So hitting up on it will, you know, it'll decrease the spin, and then that ball penetrate through the air a little bit better and more efficiently. Yeah. So that's, you've definitely kind of mastered that skill. I mean, I've seen you in here get up to 7-8 degrees.
Oh, well, I can. Ball, so
you really could. If you were trying to swing for the fences here, you would do that.
I'm just trying to keep the speed about the same for each one here. But if I wanted to swing really hard and go like this.
Oh yeah, you would be just like.
It may not go straight. That's the problem, though. Similar spin.
Yeah, pretty consistent.
I'm not going to lie, I feel like I didn't quite catch that one. And it was very good numbers.
Quite the statement to make when you hit it 317 yards.
It's hard to say, but
you know.
I think like I got just a little bit more in the tank with this. Like right there.
Oh, that's the highest ball speed of the day. Yep.
320, furthest one I've hit.
Yep. I knew right away. I mean, we hadn't seen 169 yet, and then it jumped to 170.
Yeah, the first couple of shots just, the spin rate was low, but I feel like they were just a touch necky, and that one it felt like it was more middle of the face. And
is that 4 or is that 5?
That's 3.
That's 3?
Yep.
I'm losing my marbles here, Thomas.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with those numbers right there. 100 feet
exactly
in the air.
100 feet in the air. That'll work every time.
Is this where 300-yard drives are created?
This is where 300-yard drives are hit, I can tell you that.
Let me see.
Watch this.
I want to see.
Look at this. Yeah, 311.
Yeah, that one left
Just
face
a
open.
little baby fade.
You're live on YouTube right now, you know that?
What's that?
You're live on YouTube right now.
No.
Yeah, we're doing it live right now on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, there you are, see? Right there.
Wow.
And we've had Mr. Edo live on,
Steve,
not live on one
channel
of our
before.
videos before. So.
Yeah, you've been on the channel before.
I've been on the channel before.
Off the team for good reason.
Oh, hey, stop it.
Thanks for showing your face. All right, let's make up for that last shot.
Might make up for it. That's
that
fine.
wasn't. That was a little open.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I feel like
know
this
which one of
dispersion
the
is going to be
outliers.
pretty good.
Yeah.
This dispersion is going to be pretty good. We'll go like this. We'll show that, and then we'll go. Yeah. So this one
Clearly
was the one that kind of tailed right on you. So now we've got 4 with each, and that dispersion, it's right. I mean, I think it's a little bit maybe edging out G425. It's really close between the two of them.
I mean, yeah, that purple. Oh no, sorry, that orange circle looks.
Yeah,
really
good.
good.
I mean, and then if you add the distance factor in too, it's probably the best one so far. There's something to be said about that center of gravity being that far forward and keeping the spin low, because I'm going to look at the spin here. I think Epic Max LS is, the only one that's beating it right now in terms of spin.
Right, yeah,
so,
what do we got for distance between, if we were going to rank them the highest?
Total distance, we're ranking TSi3 and then Epic Max LS, followed by SIM2, G425, and Radspeed. If we're going to order it by spin quickly here. And we can see highest spin was SIM2, lowest spin Epic Max LS, and then TSi4. So
look at that consistency with both
I
the
know.
TSi4 and the G425, plus or minus there.
look at that.
I like that.
That deviation number, very low.
Yeah.
So you're getting, I mean, you know what's going to happen with these
Right.
drivers, which is, I think, something that should be noted. You know.
Well,
So now we
have
did have a
this.
request here
yep.
to add in the Tour Edge Exotic C721. If you haven't yet, maybe after this broadcast, go back and watch our initial testing video on the C721 driver where Thomas was hitting low spin lasers out there. So we will test this one, throw it in the mix here.
I'm not gonna lie, after the TSi4 and then putting this club head down next to it, it looks quite different.
It's very different look, yes.
The
TSi4
distance
is-
from the face to the back here is quite significant there too.
So now, to reiterate, the shaft is a little bit different.
Right.
It's not a perfect, so it's not going to be a perfect test, but we
Very
did-
similar weight. So this is the Hazardous RDX Smoke, the blue one, 6.0 60. We were testing with the XC6S, so it's going to be very, very close in weight. We just don't have an all-fit system
Right.
for Tour Edge, but
Right.
we'll give it a shot here and see how it stacks up. Because, I did hit it pretty well.
Yeah, for sure you did.
Might have left the face a little bit open. Yeah.
Okay.
Even still, pretty good numbers for a face being open.
We got a question. Can you give us some idea as to which drivers are best for various swing speed averages? Most players don't have Thomas's swing speed. That is true.
Right.
I will say, I mean, for the fact that we're testing low spin drivers, I mean, in general, it's going to be
105
for
plus.
going to be for faster, 105 or higher, and with driver speed. Now,
Yep.
you could be a player that just generates a ton of spin, and then maybe you'd also be fit into one of these. So
Yeah, but I'd be concerned about knowing that it's not as forgiving. If you
That's true.
generate a lot of spin, there's probably other things that's causing that spin.
Right.
Like your attack angle, like face to path. So that's why I like a high MOI driver just to help them hit it straighter.
yeah, because these are less forgiving than like, for example, G425 LST does not have the forgiveness that G425 Max does.
Yep.
So a couple of things to note in there, and it depends on what you're looking for. If you are a fast speed player and you're trying to keep the ball low or controlled, that's where these drivers come into play quite a bit. Otherwise, then we have the higher MOI heads, G425 Max, SIM2 Max, those type of drivers.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely good options out there. And then you got your, those people that do say slice the ball or fade the ball a little bit. You got
and then you got those draw bias.
your draw
ones,
bias
too.
options there too. So,
So-
there's a lot of different options out there. Depending on the manufacturer, there might be more different options to cater
Right.
to the player, but there's plenty. And for good reason. This game's hard. Slipped a little on that one.
Oh, that's
I
fine.
mean, good miss it.
look at the spin on that one.
I was pretty disappointed on that strike.
Where did
but-
you, did it hit it high on the face?
Yeah, a little high toe, and my back foot just
I
slightly
mean, there's
slipped.
something to be said about this driver in low spin. It's
Right.
the fact that you caught that one not quite perfectly, and it's 1721 spin.
That might be good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's just a straight flight, man.
yeah, it's good.
Your face to path is 0.0 on that one.
All right, just a little tug.
Just a little bit
across.
Yeah, that's
That's probably me after the first two shots, ball going right, not
Yeah.
wanting the ball to go right.
another good one.
A little left.
A little bit left.
All right, let's finish strong this
One
last
more here.
swing.
One more with the Tour Edge Exotic C721. Curious to see how that compares now, because
This is a lot of drives to hit. So One thing to keep in mind there too, when you do come in for a driver fitting, you're not going to hit probably 6 different drivers against each other. We generally test 3 or 4 heads, maybe 2 or 3 heads, based on the interview process, and then we'll dive deeper a little bit into the shafts. But it's going to be 3 to 4 shots with each driver head. Fatigue sets in. I mean, it seemed like, but I'm breathing pretty heavily here. I'm sweating.
The thing is, you're trained well enough. I mean, we do these tests kind of quite a bit, you know. So where you're hitting 30 plus tee shots. I mean, that's not something that's normal for a player to do. So, but I think you may bring up the interview process as part of the whole fitting process. Like the first part of that is our fitters basically asking you a bunch of questions about your game, because as these guys will tell you, every fitter we have here, every fitting's different. So every player that comes in is different, and they tailor it a little bit differently to you. So, and that starts with that interview process of what are you looking for, and then from there, selecting a couple of club heads based on some of the things you say about what you like to look at, but also maybe what our fitters are dissecting is what maybe you need as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, there's thousands and thousands of different head and shaft combinations.
Oh, yeah.
We have it all. But the interview process is bringing us down from those thousands to a select few that we know we're going to work well with.
For sure.
Yeah,
and then even from there, we do some testing, and then there's more combinations probably thrown in, or maybe there's a club head adjustment or a hosel tweak. So,
all right.
All right.
No. I mean, it's good.
See, I'm impressed by the low spin. The fact that was kind of I don't want to say a slice. That would be a pretty drastic term, but you know, a pretty good fade.
Well, the fact that thing was 128 feet in the air and the spin rate was only still 1,977 RPMs, that tells me something about this driver. One thing I will also touch here too, we were all testing with 9-degree heads. This is a 9.5 degree head.
Okay.
So that might be part of the reason a little bit there too why maybe it wasn't quite hitting as straight as the others. You can adjust it, but you keep in mind you are adjusting the face angle a little bit to get there as well. But
yeah. So we've got. I just wanted to get your feedback on maybe the shot to take out here from the C721. You got kind of one left, one right.
Probably that 26. I would say it'd probably be the.
Okay. So we've got this now for our dispersion map for our driver test today. First of all, I'm going to give a reminder, hey, if you're enjoying this right now, subscribe to our channel, like the video.
Let us know what you want us to do live testing next.
Yeah, let us know in the comments here in the chat if there's a comparison you want us to do moving forward here. Again, we're going to try to go live every Thursday for really until basically like warms up here, or at least until fittings really get busy in here at Second Swing in the spring. So let us know. Let's look at these numbers, Thomas.
All right.
So I'll expand the data chart here a little bit. We'll start with club speed, organize it by club speed, and we've got TSi4 in the lead, actually.
TSi4 in the lead with club speed, ball speed, and efficiency. So that definitely stands out.
I think so, yeah. Interesting there. Right. And then the C721 with the club speed, SIM2 down here, and then we'll go here. Let's organize by ball speed as well. So yeah, Epic Max LS up there too, SIM2 up there. At TSi4 though, I mean, it's not really that close. TSi4 was up there, and again, the faster swing contributes to that. But is there anything you think maybe contributed to that with TSi4? I know they've got their new, club face design this year that has added some more ball speed off the face. But anything else that you're noting, or maybe just, you were popping that thing pretty good.
I popped it pretty good. Based on the efficiency number 149, you can tell that I hit it probably just slightly more in the screws as opposed to the others. I mean, we're talking 147 to 149. They're pretty close, but not the golden 1.50, which I always try to achieve on TrackMan, but it's pretty close, and I'm very happy with that. So that was impressive. We'll notice, this is a low spin driver test. Yeah. When you're swinging at 112 miles an hour, you need to keep that spin rate down. Yeah. So you can see here spin rate, which ranging from 1851 to 2377. So 500 RPMs.
That's a money range for someone with your speed. And then I think we'll see efficiency-wise, so generally, if you get lower spin, it's going to be more rollout. You're probably going to be a longer total distance generally. when you're in that type of swing speed range. But TSi4 was right kind of in the middle here with spin, but then it ended up being the farthest total distance just because of how efficiently you were striking that thing.
Yeah, if you get too little spin, it's a little harder to control as well.
Right.
So there's definitely
dive
an
out of the sky
optimal
too
window.
fast on you.
It can kind of do this as well. So when we did a wedge test recently where we got to put dirt in the grooves.
Oh yeah, that's right.
With a wedge, and we got 10,000 RPMs of spin with grooves basically that clean, and then we put some dirt in the grooves to make it like you hadn't cleaned your club face, and we got 5,000 RPMs of spin, and we could see how the ball was just diving out of the way at the end with only 5,000 RPMs.
Yeah, that's another side note.
Yeah.
Clean your grooves, especially on a wedge shot, before you hit them, because
absolutely
dirty club face,
every
that
time.
thing is so unpredictable. So
yeah.
The other thing I wanted to touch on once again is the low standard deviation number for consistency here. TSi4 spin and G425 LST.
Right.
So you hit the ball with those two drivers, it's going to spin a pretty consistent number.
Yeah. The biggest surprise, I guess, so far for me has been TSi4. I mean, yeah, it's designed to be hot and low spinning, and if you're hitting it well, yeah, it's going to be really good. But I'm surprised in the consistency. I thought the consistency was going to be a little bit of a concern, knowing that the head's a little smaller and knowing it's a really low spinning club.
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, this is not a club. It's a specialty club. It's not a club that's fit into a lot of players. But the fact that you killed that driver multiple times here, and it was very consistent. So that's something to take note of here.
Yeah.
We'll bring up carry distance here. TSi4, Epic Max LS, SIM2 in there as well. So it's interesting because the SIM2 is just spun a little bit more.
It's just a little bit more spin, and that's
that
probably
does
a
give you more
fade
carry
bias
distance
to it.
Yeah, it does give you more
spin.
carry distance.
Yep.
And that's something to note that we're not saying low spin is always a good thing. If you need more spin, it's going to give you more carry distance most of the time.
It's just going to stop a little faster. But if the course is wet, I mean, if you got a bunker out there, if I got a bunker out there at 285 or 280, I'm going to feel comfortable with those top three because I know I can carry that. But if you're taking a look at the rad speed there at 282, a little lower ball flight, it's going to chase out a little bit more, but it might challenge my carry distance. So that's why spin is important to control the ball, but it also helps with ball flight.
Right. Yeah. And then here's the total numbers as well. We got them ranked there. So TSi4, Epic Max LS, Exotic C721, SIM2, G425 LST, and then Rad Speed. So.
And I'll come back to that attack angle. If you want to hit the ball far, we mentioned it briefly. There was a comment there. If you take a look at the attack angle, it's 5 point something on every
5
club.
point something. Yeah, that's actually pretty remarkable how consistent that is, by the way.
You see a negative in front of that number, work on hitting up on the ball a little bit more.
Yeah,
especially
that should
driver.
be positive. Probably should be like 2 to 3 degrees positive.
You want to see a negative number with the irons.
Yes.
With the driver, you don't want to see a negative
Correct.
number.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another shout out to our TikTok page. Go follow if you're a TikToker. But that's one we're gonna going on the channel on as well as a comparison of how iron swing is different than a driver swing based on attack angle. So otherwise, I mean, Thomas, any other notes here to look at? I do want to bring up the dispersion pattern here. We can show that. So
yeah, dispersion's king.
Dispersion is ultimately what this is. I mean, and you
I
can
like
see
seeing
the ovals.
Right.
Lots of different colors. It's like a painting up there. But
I like seeing dots close together, and that's really important. And
which is, I see that orange one, and I see that blue one in terms of dispersion are the smallest ovals there. Farthest, and then you get Epic Max LS up there, which is a little bit further than most of the others. But and I think I see these three too with Rad Speed that are kind of really close together. I remember that was their first 3 swings with that club.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's whatever club is going to help you hit the ball straight is definitely important. As you mentioned, distance versus dispersion. You've got to figure out what you want to sacrifice.
And then in our fittings anyway, we're again, if you're like, I want this to be focused 75% on dispersion, then there you go. So like in that case, if you're worried about dispersion more than distance, we might be like, G425 LST here is going to be probably what you're going for, right? If you're like, give me all the distance that I can possibly get, TSi4 or Epic Max LS, So again, that's going to be what your concern is, what your priorities are in hitting drivers off the tee. So with that said, I think we can maybe wrap up here with some questions from the golfers. We already have a bunch to look at here. We've got James asking about your super speed protocols. Are you going to fire that up again here in the off-season?
Absolutely, yep. So I've been working on a little golf studio myself at my home, and I haven't been able to had the space to do it. But I'm going to have the space where I'm going to get back into super speed. But I also want to get into more strength training and mobility training. If you haven't watched already, the Thomas Campbell Road to the PGA Championship, that's my goal right now is get ready for April. Is I want to play in the PGA Championship, and I finished top 20 in the National Club Pro. I'm there, so I will be working really hard in this off season to get my game ready, and that's going to be a big piece to it. I don't need to swing at 120 miles an hour every time, but it's nice to know that if I'm a little bit more smoother swing and I gain a couple extra miles an hour.
Yeah.
And you look at my size.
The goal is not to go out, with the super speed, not to go out there and swing as hard as you can every time, and now I can swing 120 miles an hour. It's that your more laid back or reserve swing is now 5 miles an hour faster. That's kind of, I think, the goal of it. So, but yeah, that's a great point too. Road to the PGA with Thomas Campbell. He's trying to play in the PGA Championship in 2022. He got past the first kind of part of qualifying for it. So, follow along. We've got, I think, 4 videos up already on the channel. Another one coming soon here. So, stay tuned for that. Let's see more questions. Is there an equipment fix for constant toe strikes?
Length of club, lie angle?
Yeah. Yep. He said, asking about shaft length. Shaft length is one, lie angle is another.
Yep.
A couple of things that I think those are pretty, it was me. I'm kind of the same deal. It's about you come in for a fitting, use the lie board, use the sole tape, whatever it might be, and you can quickly diagnose that stuff, and it's probably a lie angle a couple degrees upright or flat or whatever the case might be. Yeah,
it depends on where you're trying. And I'd say more length of the club is going to influence it. A lot of times I've noticed, even just with a driver fitting, too many people play 46-inch or 45.5, 46-inch driver, and they catch it here.
Yeah.
I've talked time and time. You don't want to hit this part of the club.
Right.
By going just a little bit shorter, it's going to bring that club just a little bit closer. And
so
you may sacrifice.
The toe strike, maybe a little bit longer club can help them there. But yeah, that's another one there.
And then I would also work with an instructor on your face-to-path relationship too, because if you're really swinging across it either direction, it's going to give you a chance to hit it on the heel or the toe as well too. So it's not all just club fitting, it's going to be a little bit to do with your club path and your face angle.
Can you open a store in Miami, Florida? If it was up to me, maybe, but I don't have the decision-making powers to do that.
Yeah, we need to. It would be great to have a store in Florida for sure. I know there's a lot of golf play down in Florida, and great state. So
I am 6'4" with long arms, but I find it hard to generate a lot of club head speed. What could cause this, or maybe what can improve that?
I think he's just got to work on trying to generate the downswing with his, with his lower body.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I see taller people, they feel like they have to use their arms to swing the club on the downswing.
It's a lot of lower body.
It's a lot of the power move in the golf swing is this little bump here to start the downswing, and then rotating those hips out of the way. I see too many people try and use their arms.
Almost leveraging the ground and then firing your hips around.
Yeah, you basically are using the ground.
Yeah,
is what you're doing. Yeah.
Butt cheek to Robbie,
And yes, right. The butt cheek to Robbie is important to making sure you turn your hips out of the way.
Yep.
You look at my size. My speed's all in the hips. That's how I hit the ball far.
Here's another question. I think Kyle here asked this one earlier. We didn't quite get to it, but for newer golfers whose swing is changing constantly, how worthwhile is getting fit? Do you run the risk of that fitting becoming obsolete in a short amount of time due to how quickly you may change your swing? This is another one that I think we get a lot of questions.
We get that question all the time. Yeah. I would say absolutely is important. So it depends how dedicated you are to make a swing change. It takes a lot of golf swings to make a swing change. I always say, when I'm making a swing change, because I've got it ingrained in, rule 10,000. If I'm trying to change something and then get that thing down and consistent, it takes 10,000 times. It's just it takes a lot of practice, a lot of change there too. We can always bend the lie angle a little bit if we need to. There's a good chance if you get fit into, say, a cavity back iron, you're, say, a 10 handicap golfer, I'm not going to say within 1 or 2 years that you're going to fit into a blade and you're going to be a tour pro. So there's a good chance when you get fit, you're going to get fit into the right club head model as it is. There's going to be people that are going to make some drastic movements. We do take trades at second swing. We also have our play guarantee as well, but Trades are are the highest in the industry too, so you're not completely tied. I know you're not going to get what you paid for the clubs completely, but you got to keep that in mind. It's just like anything. You put the time in, you probably upgrade a little bit on something.
Yeah. So I think to make a good point about someone that is more of a beginner and is kind of really working on their game to improve it, that most likely they're going to be fit into a cast iron or a game improvement iron, and that's the thing that you can still make those changes. You can still make that lie angle change. You can still make maybe adjustment to length or whatever. So
you can.
Those are the changes that you can still make depending on swing plane, swing type.
I'll say my lie angle in my life since I've probably the last 20 years has changed 1 degree. Yeah. I've gone from 1 degree up to flat, to standard. That's been the change in 20 years. And I've made a lot of swing changes. I used to slice the crap out of the ball. Yeah. So I mean, I've made some big changes in the last 5 years on my swing, and my lie angle still is pretty much it's moved 1 degree from 1 degree upright to standard.
So there you go. I mean, now
you can bend that.
It can be bent. We can make those changes for you, so that way you're also not getting used to a whole new club head and doing that whole adjustment. So. I think we're running out of the chat here, running out of comments, and I think it's probably a good place to end today. But we had a fun comparison. We want to thank everybody for joining our live broadcast today. I think we really enjoyed it. We're going to have fun doing more of these here in the future. So stay tuned. Thursdays at 10 a.m. We're going to be aiming to go live every Thursday. So join us. We're going to have some more ideas, more content. Once again, drop a comment in this video and let us know maybe the comparison or maybe the topic you want us to cover in our next live broadcast. But once again, thank you for joining. Thomas, thanks for joining today too. This was a lot of fun, and looking forward to more of these here.
And if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe, because we got plenty coming your way.